hunt hungry.
So we've all sat in a tree in, the fall and just pondered life and been like, I ought to write a book or something, just like you think about stories that were important to you. Like, what made you go, I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to write a book about this.
Well, it's funny for me. It was a little bit of a circuitous route to get there because, along with my one of the things, or how do I say this? One of the things that I struggle with as with being on the spectrum is social, being social and putting myself out there. I'm very much a private guy. I like to kind of be anonymous, but I love to write and I love telling stories to my friends, but I don't really like being out there in the public eye. And so I started writing things years ago just for fun, and I kind of thought maybe something was wrong with me for writing for fun because it seemed like schoolwork. Um, but I really had a good time doing it, and I shared them with my wife and my family, and I'd post truncated versions of things that I wrote on Facebook if I got good feedback from it. But I never had any idea that I never really wanted to publish a book by no means. And then after I found out that I was autistic and it things started clicking for me with why I struggled early on the way I did and why I still struggle to this day with going on these hunts and going with groups and just being successful in the field, because I'm still twitchy, I'm still awkward. And as I got to talking to some people about that and sharing my diagnosis and my struggles, I realized that there was more people out there who struggle with the same thing, which makes sense. I mean, I'm 50 years old, and I just found out. I know for a fact that I'm not the only 50-year-old dude out there that just found out he is, or that is, and it maybe hasn't found out yet. And as I've talked to people on Facebook, there's a lot of people who said, well, I struggle with those same things, and a couple of them have actually been diagnosed since we started talking. And I realized that my story could help people because, well, how do I say this? I guess at first, whenever I found out I was autistic, to be honest, I was embarrassed and I didn't tell anybody for a couple months. And then it kind of started coming out. When I saw that it helped people, I was more open about it. And then that kind of blossomed into this idea that, hey, maybe I should take these writings and my story and put it in a book so that people can understand what I've been through. Not that I'm special, but just to know that, hey, someone else has been through this. Someone else struggles with the same thing. They've had the same issues, and maybe it could help somebody. And if anybody that knows me knows that for all my flaws and troubles, I do like to help people. So that was kind of the thrust behind it.
Yeah,
And
I wouldn't peg you as an introvert or awkward or socially awkward just based on your social media. Like, your Facebook posts are hilarious. Like, you can get on there and just go on about stuff on Facebook, like nothing, And I read
it's
every
so
one of
much
them and
easier
laugh.
there. But
Yeah, you're probably right.
whenever you meet me in person, I'm a very I'm 180 difference. I really struggle with that. Matter of fact, a couple years ago, I went down to Florida on an Osceola hunt with Tacticam with Jeff and Tara Peel, Ben Stern, Tom Foreman, and a bunch of them. And I was so excited because this is literally my dream hunt, to go on an Osceola hunt. 'Cause I've always wanted, ever since I became a turkey hunter, I wanted to be to get a grand slam. But the one leg that seemed absolutely impossible for me was Florida, because I couldn't ever afford to go down there on my own and find an outfitter and all that. So anyway, long story short, they let me come with them, so I got to go with them. I was so excited. The 18-hour drive down there, I was just giddy with excitement. I get there, I knock on the door, and I swear those people had to think I was mute for the first 2 days because I couldn't talk to anybody. I just sat there and didn't say much. I was awkward. I mean, it was physically painful for me how awkward it was, and I couldn't get out of it. So yeah, I am so different on social media. I'm very outgoing on social media because it's safer for me. But whenever I meet anybody in public or even people I know. I mean, it's different with my wife or my folks or my kids, but if it's a longtime friend that I don't see very often, I'm awkward around them too. It's just one of those things I can't overcome.